You think you can run from me? Huh? Look at me when I'm talking to you!
I didn't, I swear I didn't.
Lie! You had him set up, didn't you? You put him in that car!
I don't know what you're
Lieutenant,
talking
that's
about.
enough. Let her
She's
breathe.
hiding something in
Put your hands where I can see them. The cafe fell silent. Chairs scraped, phones lifted, and eyes widened as Officer Clark's voice cut through the air. A woman sat frozen, calm, composed, her cheeks swelling from the blow she never saw coming. Her badge lay on the floor, gleaming under the light, but he hadn't noticed. Not yet. The crowd knew they were witnessing something explosive, injustice colliding with truth. Because this wasn't just another viral moment, it was the night power met accountability. Welcome, story lovers. Where are you watching from? Hit the like button and drop your city name in the comments so we can see how far our story travels. It was a quiet Sunday evening in downtown Atlanta. The kind of evening where the streets hummed softly with the rhythm of people winding down, families leaving restaurants, couples strolling under streetlights, the city exhaling after a long week. Inside a cozy cafe near Peachtree Street, Special Agent Maya Henderson sat alone at a corner table, enjoying her favorite comfort meal: fried catfish, collard greens, and sweet tea. Off-duty, out of uniform, and away from the tension of investigations, she felt almost invisible, just another woman savoring peace. Maya was the kind of person who blended discipline with compassion. Her colleagues admired her precision, her composure, and the quiet authority she carried even without a badge in sight. But behind that calm was a lifetime of lessons. Lessons about how the color of her skin could dictate how the world saw her, long before it ever saw her credentials. As the cafe door opened and closed with the soft chime of new customers, Maya barely noticed the squad car that parked across the street. Two officers stepped out, laughing, their voices cutting through the evening calm. They looked young, restless, full of the kind of arrogance that uniformed power sometimes feeds. One of them, Officer Clark, had a reputation. Maya knew the type. She had seen it too many times before. Authority wrapped in insecurity, searching for a target. The city lights flickered outside. Clark's eyes scanned the cafe, landing on Maya, a black woman eating alone. He saw not her confidence, not her quiet grace, not her years of service to the same nation he claimed to protect. He just saw someone to question, someone to control. And in that instant, the piece of her evening began to unravel, one prejudice at a time. Officer Clark's boots hit the pavement with the rhythm of entitlement. His partner followed, quieter, unsure. Through the cafe's window, Clark's eyes locked on Maya again. She sat there, calm and unbothered, scrolling through her phone between bites, not even glancing up as the officers entered. The bell above the door jingled. Conversations dipped. The warm hum of the cafe froze into uneasy silence. Clark adjusted his belt, his voice sharp, practiced, the kind of tone that made commands sound like threats. "Ma'am, I need to see some ID." Maya looked up slowly, her expression neutral, her movements unhurried. She wasn't breaking any laws. She wasn't disturbing anyone. She was simply eating. But she could already sense the tension hanging in the air, the eyes on her, the judgment forming before she even spoke. "Why?" she asked gently. That word, simple, calm, logical, was enough to ignite his anger. Clark's jaw tightened. His pride couldn't handle resistance, especially not from a black woman who didn't flinch. "Don't question me," he barked. The cafe manager peeked from behind the counter, unsure whether to intervene or disappear. Phones started recording. A woman at the following table whispered, "She didn't do anything." But Clark didn't care. His authority was the only validation he needed. He grabbed at Maya's arm, but she stayed still, steady. The power in her silence only enraged him more. Her thoughts raced, but her training kept her grounded. Every move, every breath mattered. She'd seen situations like this end in tragedy. She knew that even her calm could be mistaken for defiance. His voice grew louder, the words more venomous. "You people always think you're above the law." Those words, "you people," sliced through the cafe like a blade. Everyone heard it. Some froze, others pretended not to. Maya's stomach tightened, not from fear, but from something more profound: disappointment. She had spent her life serving justice, only to be stripped of it in a public dining room. As she reached into her purse, slowly, deliberately, Clark reacted, misinterpreting her movement as aggression. The scene exploded. Her chair tipped back. Food spilled. A gasp echoed through the cafe. Clark's fist connected with her cheek. Hard. The sound was sharp, final. The crowd erupted. Someone screamed. Someone yelled, "She didn't do anything!" Phones pointed from every direction, capturing the chaos. Maya's badge slid from her bag onto the floor, glinting under the fluorescent lights, the gold letters reading Federal Bureau of Investigation. The room froze. Clark's face drained of color. His arrogance faltered, giving way to confusion, then to fear. But it was too late. The cameras had already caught everything. Every word, every punch, every abuse of power. The silence that followed wasn't peace. It was truth, heavy, undeniable, and about to change everything. The badge lay between them, small, gleaming, and louder than any word spoken. Clark's hand hovered mid-air, trembling now, as realization crashed over him. The woman he had just assaulted wasn't some stranger he could intimidate into silence. She was law, higher than his rank, deeper than his ignorance, and armed with the truth he could no longer control. Maya stood slowly, her lip bleeding, her breath steady. The cafe was still recording, every phone a silent witness. Her voice when she finally spoke was calm, almost too quiet. "You just assaulted a federal agent." The words didn't need volume. They carried the weight of justice itself. The second officer stepped back, muttering into his radio, panic crawling up his throat. Clark's arrogance shattered into disbelief. He tried to explain, to twist the story before it spun beyond his reach. But the cameras had already chosen their side. Sirens wailed outside. Within minutes, blue and red lights flooded the street, not for Maya, but for him. Officers surrounded the cafe, confusion in their eyes as they took in the scene, one of their own in shock, and a black woman standing firm, badge in hand, truth on display. The same system that had been used to silence her now turned its gaze toward him. For once, it wasn't her being questioned. It was him. Justice had arrived, not with vengeance, but with evidence. Dear audience, where are you watching from? Drop your city name in the comments. By dawn, the story was everywhere. The cafe footage had gone viral overnight. A uniformed officer, fueled by prejudice, punching a woman who never fought back. The hashtags multiplied, the outrage spread, and the truth became impossible to bury. What once hid in silence now stood in the center of national conversation. Maya didn't speak to the cameras. She didn't need to. Her silence said more than any interview could. She had spent years building cases against injustice, yet this time, she had lived one. And still, she handled it with the same composure that once earned her the Bureau's highest respect. Officer Clark was suspended, then charged. The department scrambled to contain the damage, issuing hollow apologies that came too late. The city, for once, looked inward, at its own systems, its own biases, its own failure to protect. For Maya, the scars were more than physical. They were reminders that even power, authority, and achievement couldn't shield her from what her skin represented to some. Yet she refused to let bitterness win. She turned her pain into purpose, leading new initiatives within the FBI to train officers in racial bias and accountability. Her story wasn't just about what happened in that cafe. It was about what happens every day, unseen, unrecorded, and unpunished. How many more will it take before justice doesn't depend on the color of your skin? Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more powerful true stories that matter.